Judgment reserved in Donovan Moodley's retrial application, and Doctors Without Borders suspends operations in Libya. Good evening, I'm Greg Hoos. Judgment's been reserved in the retrial application of convicted killer Donovan Moodley in the High Court in Johannesburg. The presiding judge says the ruling will be handed down next Wednesday. Moodley was convicted of the 2004 kidnapping and murder of university student Lee Matthews. Over the past 2 days, he's told the court that he was forced by the state to take full responsibility for the crime.
I have shown factually in this application how various elements of both the confession and admissions are impossible, do not match evidence, are not logical or reasonable. More so, contradict eyewitnesses. I was a young, defenseless man who was crushed by the might of the state. I did what I could do out of desperation. I plead with this court to see that this confession and admissions can be given no weight any longer.
Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan says South Africa's economic growth will certainly be below 3% this year due to the impact of a slowdown in Eurozone economies. He was addressing a news conference at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. The minister says Europe is a major trading partner for South Africa, and the problems there have had a major impact on the South African manufacturing industry and other export sectors. The government's official growth forecast is 3.4%. The DA in Johannesburg says it's not surprised by the qualified audit received by the city municipality. Joburg has received a qualified audit for the second year in a row. The DA's Patrick Atkins.
Unfortunately, all the issues that were highlighted last year was caused by the implementation of Project Bakama, or the new SAP billing system in Johannesburg, which has caused all these problems in data transfers. Is actually the underlying reason for the billing crisis in Johannesburg. The qualified report for the city of Johannesburg shows it's actually in a very poor financial state, and it gives us great concern.
Mozambique's weather service says the second tropical depression to hit the southern part of the country in 2 weeks has destroyed thousands of homes. Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds have affected more than 250,000 families since the storms began last week. The newest tropical depression has moved from the central province of Sofala to a southern province. About 26 people have died in the flooding so far. Doctors Without Borders has suspended operations in detention centres in the Libyan city of Misrata, east of the Libyan capital Tripoli, because of what it says are persistent cases of torture. The move comes a day after the UN Security Council warned of a growing problem of abuse in Libya's prisons. The BBC's Gabriel Gatehouse.
Médecins Sans Frontières says it has treated more than 100 people with torture-related injuries in Misrata's detention centres. A spokesman for the charity said that in some cases patients had been brought for treatment halfway through an interrogation, only to be taken back to be tortured again. MSF says it alerted the local authorities, but that no action was taken. On Wednesday, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navi Pillay, told the Security Council that around 8,500 people accused of being supporters of Muammar Gaddafi were being held in informal prisons run by armed militia groups.
An unemployed Irish artist has built a home from the shredded remains of €1.4 billion. He says a monument to the madness has been wrought on Ireland by the single currency, from a spectacular construction boom to a wrenching bust. Frank Buckley built the apartments in the lobby of a Dublin office building that has been vacant since its completion 4 years ago. He used bricks of shredded euro notes he borrowed from Ireland's national mint. The top story at 6 o'clock, a judgment has been reserved in the retrial application of convicted killer Donovan Moodley in the High Court in Johannesburg. The presiding judge says the ruling will be handed down next Wednesday. Over the past 2 days, Moodley's told the court that he was forced by the state to take full responsibility for that crime.